Hi guys, this is Mr. Urrego, and today we're finding the side of a right triangle using trigonometry. Right triangle means triangle is a 90-degree angle, right? As soon as I have the triangle, I need to identify which one is my hypotenuse, which is across the 90 degree. You see my 90 is pointing at the hypotenuse. Then we have two acute angles. Right now we're using the angle on the bottom left. So the side that is next to is called the adjacent side. The side that is across, which is the vertical one, is called the opposite side. We'll be looking to find a side, either the opposite in this case, or the adjacent, or even the hypotenuse. We'll be using trigonometric ratios, which is sine, cosine, and tangent. Sine is opposite side of our hypotenuse, cosine adjacent side of our hypotenuse, and tangent opposite side of our adjacent side. Opposite side, adjacent, and hypotenuse. Alright, for short we'll be using this, OPP, hypotenuse, and all this. I'm going to write the whole thing. Let's start with an example. So we have a triangle. The question is find the value of y. As we notice, the value of y is this, the vertical part. We need to find that. I see that I have a right angle. We label right away my hypotenuse. Either we need it or not, we label. Okay? And now we end up with, now we have two different sides, opposite side and adjacent side. Which one is which? My angle is 35. Because it's here, that's my angle. The side next to it, this side that is making the angle, is called the adjacent side, which in our case is 12. Alright? The y is across the angle. Therefore, because it's across, is my opposite side. And now, the hypotenuse, I'm not doing anything with the hypotenuse because the question is find the value of y. The information given is the 12 and the angle. How can I relate adjacent and opposite? I come over here and says, oh, opposite and hypotenuse? No. Adjacent and hypotenuse? No. Opposite and adjacent. Opposite and adjacent, therefore I'm using tangent. So I don't need the sine, I don't need the cosine, I'm working with a tangent. Let's use the tangent. This thing is called theta. The angle in this case is 35 degrees. So I'm going to replace tangent of 35 degrees is equal to opposite. What's opposite? Y. Over adjacent. Adjacent, the 12. And from there, I got to solve for y. Okay? To cancel the 12 that is on the denominator, I multiply times 12 on both sides. This 12 cancel with this 12, and I have y equals to 12 times tangent of 35 degrees. Now I'm going to go to my calculator. 12 tangent of 35. So I'm going to put 12 tangent of 35 degrees. Before I hit enter, I need to make sure that the degree, DEG, is highlighted because we're doing degrees. If we're doing pi over 4 or pi, it will be radians. So it highlighted, enter. The measure, let's round it to a tenth, is going to be 8.4. So y, in this case, is 8.4. What were the units? I believe they were feet. No units on this one. So 8.4 feet, meters, whatever they ask you. Okay? Let's work on another one. Okay, now we have a tree. So you're going to have a lot of word problems. A lot. Now, the idea is to identify what is the question and what information is given. Distance between the person to the top of the tree. So, person right here is the person. To the top of the tree. Here's the top of the tree. So they're asking me for this length. Okay, how much is that? Now, if they don't give you the triangle, then you make this diagonal, which is going to be your hypotenuse, and then you make a vertical line straight down, and then you make a horizontal line. And because you're doing this vertical and this horizontal, then this angle is a 90-degree angle across your hypotenuse, right? They're asking you distance between the person to the top of the tree, distance between here and here. So they're asking you for the hypotenuse. Okay, what information is given? The bottom, this distance between the base of the tree and the person is 14, and they're giving you this angle. All right, they didn't give you the bottom one. That's fine. So we identify already the hypotenuse. We need to identify what is 14. Is the adjacent or the opposite to the angle? My angle's on the top. Cross. So this is my opposite side. Therefore, I'm going to use opposite and a hypotenuse. Opposite and hypotenuse. Therefore, I'm going to use sine. So cosine and tangent are gone. Sine of 53. Opposite of a hypotenuse. Opposite, 14 feet in this case. Over hypotenuse, which is the question. I need to leave the h by itself. Times h. Times h. H sine of 53 equals 14 divided by sine of 53. Oops, this is sine of 53. Cancel, cancel. H equals 14 over sine of 53. Calculator. 14 over sine of 53. 14 divided by sine. Where's sine? Sine of 53. 17.52. Let's round it to a tenth. H is 17.5 units or feet. So far. Let me give you a different example. So now we have this tree. The distance is given, which is the distance between the person and the top of the tree, which is 17.5 feet. Angle is given, 53, which is the angle made out of that, and the vertical line. The question is the height of the tree. So here's the question. The height of the tree, this side, according to this angle, is going to be my adjacent side. And this, remember, this is a right triangle. This is your hypotenuse. That's the first thing you have to do, identify the sides. And then let's see which ratio has adjacent and hypotenuse. Adjacent hypotenuse, the cosine. So I don't need the sine, I don't need the tangent, we're using the cosine. Our angle, cosine of 53 degrees, equals adjacent over hypotenuse. Adjacent is the y, the side that is being asked. Hypotenuse, 17.5. And then we need to leave the y by itself, which means I gotta cancel the 17.5, multiply on both sides. 17.5 cancels, and my y is equal to 17.5 times cosine of 53. That's 17.5 cosine times cosine of 53 degrees. Make sure there's in degrees again. Equals 10.53. Let's run to the 10th. My answer is 10.5. My units, I believe, are feet, ft, and this is my answer. So again, that's the idea. Identify the angle, identify what size you have. Always do the hypotenuse as your first, and then decide if the other one is adjacent or opposite. Let's work on our triangle. Again, if you're with me, guys, please subscribe to the channel, like the video. Let me get into the YouTube algorithm. Let's go. Next one. Now, we have a triangle, we have a tree, we have a person. Oops, the person is right here on the bottom. And the top of the tree, that's my angle, 53 degrees. This is your diagonal, this is your 90 degree, this is your hypotenuse. First thing you do is identify the hypotenuse. Okay? Question. Distance between the person and the base of the tree. Person, the base of the tree. So they're asking me for this distance, the horizontal distance. Where's my angle? On the top. Okay. What information is given? 20 feet, which is the height of the tree. So this is given, so I need to relate the 20 with the x, which I have no idea, with the angle. Now, according to this angle, the 20 feet is your adjacent. Why? Because it's next to the angle. The x is across. So this is your opposite side. Adjacent, opposite. Which of these ratios use adjacent and opposite? That's right. adjacent, opposite, the tangent, right? It's the only one that uses those two sides. So erase sine, erase cosine, and I'm going to work with the tangent. My angle, tangent of 53, is equal to opposite or adjacent. Opposite is x, adjacent is 20 feet. Leave the x by itself, cancel the 20, times 20 on both sides, all right? Something that I need you to be aware of is every time I multiply by the number, I put it in front of my function. This is what I'm saying. 20 times tangent of 53. Be careful and don't put the angle here because this will be a big mistake, all right? So let me show you the calculator. 20 times tangent of 53 degrees, okay, equals 26.54. Let's run to a tenth, that's 26.5. And my x is 26.5 feet. Now I said, be careful putting the 20 in front of the tangent. Why? Because here's a common mistake. Tangent of 53, and then people will say times 20. You see what happened? The 20 got into the angle. It's part of the angle. So that's what I said. Always put the length, this 20, in front of my function to avoid mistakes. 20 and then tangent 53. And right there, they will be multiplied. Okay? Be careful with that one. Let's go. Now, last one. Another type of problem. Now we have, before we move on. Here in these problems, note this problem with a tree. This is the person. Okay? Let's pretend that this is the person. The person is lying right there. When the person looks up, okay, this is the horizontal. When the person looks up, this angle is called the angle of elevation. So you understand, when the person looks up is the angle of elevation. Let's get into the boat. Here's the boat, right? In all these problems, we consider that that is only a dot, right? Let's consider it like that. And now, from the boat, we're looking at the treasure over here in the bottom. Because I'm looking down, right? I'm looking down. This angle is called the angle of depression. If you're looking up, the angle will be elevation. If you're looking down, the angle will be depression. Okay? This is just because there's going to be a lot of word problems that they will describe the problem and they won't give you the drawing. In our case, we have the drawing. Now, so this is our angle between the horizontal and the diagonal that the boat makes with the treasure. The question is, find the distance between the person and the treasure. Okay, the diver is over here in the bottom, and they're asking you the distance between him and the treasure. So is this horizontal? As you notice, we make a vertical line, a horizontal line, so we create a right triangle. This angle that is given on the top, how come it's the same as the bottom? Because these two angles are called alternate interior angles. This line is considered a transversal line, and because it's made out of with the horizontal line, so these two angles are called alternate interior angles. Now, one more thing. If you get confused about these alternate interior angles, just finish the triangle on the top. Horizontal line, vertical line, make the 90-degree angle. If you use a triangle on the top or triangle on the bottom, we'll get the same measure. How come? Because if you notice, look, this base, the horizontal piece is x, is the same thing as the top. Why? Because technically I just finished a rectangle, so the bottom and the top are the same length, and the left and the right are the same as well. So this 40 is the same as this right side, the top is the same as the bottom. Okay, so you can use the triangle on the top and the triangle on the bottom is the same thing. All right, let's go back to the original. So we have our angle and this side. Okay, this is the distance. Because it's touching the angle, then this is the adjacent side. Remember, all the bottom, the horizontal piece is the adjacent side. Okay, they're not asking me for this diagonal. Remember, this is your 90, so this is going to be your hypotenuse. They're not asking me for this. They're asking me for the horizontal, and they gave me the vertical. According to this angle, that 40 is your opposite side. Okay, so now I need to relate the 40, which is given, the x, which is the adjacent, and the angle, adjacent and opposite. Adjacent and opposite, I'm using tangent. So no sine, no cosine, I'm using tangent. Let's plug it back in. I hope you notice that it's kind of the same process all over the place. It's just a matter of identifying the size. So tangent of my angle always is opposite or adjacent. Opposite is 40 meters. Don't put the meters here because you don't get, you don't want to get confused with those variable. So 40 over adjacent, which is x. I need to leave the x by itself. It's on the bottom. The denominator, you don't want it there, so I need to cancel it, multiply on both sides. X and x cancels, and I have 40 on this side, and I have x that is multiplying tangent of 12 degrees. Divided by tangent, because I had to cancel this on both sides, tangent and tangent, and now x is the same as 40 divided by tangent of 12. Let's go to our calculator. 40 over tangent of 12. 40 divided by tangent of 12 degrees. Make sure you're in degrees all the time. Equal 188.18. Let's round it to a tenth. It's going to give me 188.2. My answer is 188.2. My units are meters. And that's my final answer. Alright guys, our next video is going to be on finding an angle using right triangle, using trigonometry. Please like the video, comment, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so, and I'll see you next one. This one. Take care.